Welcome back to Labyrinth Butterfly, everyone. This is going to be a full moon reading. Full moon has just moved into the sign of Libra early this morning. And this is going to be a collective reading for the divine masculine and feminine. So I'm being guided this morning as I sat down to get into the divine collective readings to make this a union reading, to pull cards for the masculine and the feminine together. I haven't done that in many weeks, and I'm being guided to do it now. So I'm trusting that Spirit has a reason for that. I feel like with the Libra energy around this full moon, that brings us into this awareness and alignment with relationships. And the energy of Libra is very much focused on relationships and interrelating with others. So I'm going to go ahead and follow that guidance and just listen and see where this takes us. So if you're listening to this, I'm going to post it in the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine playlists so that everybody can see it, depending on what you're looking for. And I feel like the message is, regardless of whether or not you're looking outside of yourself at another in terms of a counterpart, divine masculine or divine feminine counterpart, you can also look at this as a self-reunion reading. So the balancing of your own divine masculine and the divine feminine energies. So we can go ahead with that. And we'll begin with the Dream of GAIA Tarot. And we're just going to call in some messages from the higher for the divine masculine and feminine. And we'll see where this energy is for the full moon. It's just too many. I am doing this reading live. Sometimes I pull the cards first and then I take my time with them. But I'm feeling like we have... Okay. We're just going to kind of see how this all comes together. Okay, beautiful. So the underlying card and the underlying energy is intuition. Which is the 22 card. So I love that right off the bat. And then we did get 3 cards. So feeling potentially that this is going to be kind of a, like what energies are coming together between the divine masculine and feminine, and then the two more polar extremes. So we will dive in here first with intuition, okay? And obviously this is a very magical card. This is a being who is in her power. She's cloaked, and yet she's also holding the owl perched in her arm, as well as what appears to be kind of like the universe in her palm. And she has a black cat, and there's a spider web. So there's a lot of magic in this card. So the underlying energy here is that, the divine masculine and the divine feminine are very much in their power in terms of being in their intuitive mind space and heart space. And this is actually really in alignment with a book that I am currently reading by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it's entitled Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, and it's a book about living the wisdom of the Tao, which I highly recommend as a daily read. I like books that are like that, like just a little bit of insightful wisdom, information for the day, and you just take that into your day and into your life. So the verse I actually read before this morning had a lot to do with intuitive, interrelating with the Tao and with the world, and seeing beyond what your eyes can see, hearing beyond what your ears can hear, really tuning into those places of depth, right? So that is kind of the underlying energy of what we're going into here with the intuition card. And I also feel that, I love that intuition comes out in terms of me being guided to do divine masculine, feminine, collective reading, in terms of the balance that's bringing for us. Like, oftentimes, we think of the woman or the feminine as being the intuitive force, the receptive one, but the masculine energy is also attuning to their intuition, and really growing in that knowing. So that's a really beautiful message to have come forth as this underlying energy. Okay, so we're going to dive in down a little bit deeper into the messages of the Dream of Gaia Tarot. And I'm going to start on the sun side, the masculine side. We get the card, the Five of Earth, which is actually representative of the devil energy, and plays into a lot of the shadow sides of our egos, and of this connection to output and outsourcing and money and quick experiences, and kind of putting self first, but not in a way that is selfless. The masculine energy is dealing with a lot of these dark faces of himself, and they're emerging to the surface so that they can be really looked at and dealt with, because this kind of side of him can't really continue on. Like, this is going back to the intuitive understanding that he's really tuning in to source and to the feminine energy and to this triangle of what is his truth. And so these situations that may have not been purely from his devotional self are coming to the surface, to be dealt with and recognized. Let me just turn to the Five of Earth in the book to see if anything else. Wow, I just opened exactly to the page. So there's this energy that needs to be dealt with for this union energy of the maiden, which is in between the masculine and the feminine, to start to actualize, because the devil that's inside, that is denying the feminine, because in the background here we have this picture of a woman, and particularly the intuitive self, you know, the sensitive side. She's very much, you know, shielding her heart, and she's not coming directly from her heart. So the masculine is having to work through some stuff right now. And there may be some masculines out there who are still in this, you know, trickery type of energy, you know, because this card represents like the beautiful con man, you know, who has sweet words and encouragement, and who has like lip service and lies and deceptions. But I'm not truly getting that for, you know, the collective that listens to my readings, that this is like the case, that there may still be a lot of masks being worn. But I feel like why this card is coming forward now, because this is still like up in the higher plane, is that on a spiritual level, in the higher dimensions, the masculines are dealing with their shadow stuff. Because he's realizing, you know, that in order to move forward, these things have to really be dealt with. You know, the deceptions and the voices and, you know, the things that come from within and, you know, are very fear-based kinds of energies that are like self-sabotaging. That's the energy that I'm getting from the masculine in the higher at this time. And on the opposite side of the moon, in the feminine energy, we get the King of Earth. So in a completely, you know, interesting way, here we have the feminine energy vibrating in this, you know, highly sensitive and powerful masculine earthy energy, where, you know, we've seen from the past, you know, couple of moon cycles and readings that the feminines have been focusing and needing to focus on becoming whole and complete in their masculine energy. So we have this very successful, devoted, steadfast, authoritative, reliable, and dedicated masculine energy flow going on right here. And you know, what I'm getting from this is that, you know, there are huge accomplishments being made in the feminine collective on the earthy plane, you know, that there's a freeing of the self, because the feminines are learning how to enjoy life. They're, you know, taking everything on in stride and have, you know, stopped holding on to this idea that the king has to only be on the side of the masculine in form. So in a union reading, this is really interesting because, you know, the energy has become like the feminines are acting a bit more masculine at this point. You know, pursuing their dreams, pursuing their counterparts even, staking claim, like knowing what they want and really choosing, you know, choosing their moments and choosing what they need to feel successful at this time. And they're also, you know, being very methodical in their approach to life. And in this message that comes from this card is to not deviate or to take a chance on trying something new. Like the idea here is to not allow the opinions of others to sway you. So for the feminine tribe, like it is really important right now to trust yourself and to trust your process, to trust your voice, to trust your output into the world, because this is actually helping the union. And we get the energy, like drawing these two together is the maiden, right? So after the child in this deck, we have the maiden. And this is such a perfect, beautiful card for springtime, for Easter. I mean, this is a very auspicious day. It's Good Friday. It's Hanuman Jayanti. For those that follow Hindu culture, it's also Passover. This is a very holy day, and I actually have had to take my time getting through this reading today, because I've felt so much energetically. I've almost been like in this dizzy phase of, there's feeling a lot of different energies. But we have this maiden, and she's bringing these two energies together, right? And the whole idea of going through these energies in the higher, like the dealing with the dark self and the voices and the deception and the self-sabotage and the addictions and the behaviors that the masculines are really trying to shed, and then this powerful stance that the women and the feminines are taking right now to try to level up and be self-sufficient. The balance therein is the maiden. The balance is this, sense of fertility, of self, of independence, of self-esteem, confidence, self-expression, self-exploration, self-interest, sexuality, creativity, selfishness in a positive way, people. Selfish, I'll put it this way. Selfish is the more negative vibration of self-centered. My grandmother used to say that, selfish is much different than self-centered. When you're self-centered, you are coming from your center. Self-centering is very important work. So the maiden is on her path, but she's on an unfamiliar path, but she's doing it with confidence and grace, and she's enjoying herself, and the butterflies are dancing around her head, and she's exploring life, and she's doing this not from a place of being selfish and conceited, but she's following her dreams. And she's actively working to manifest her goals and desires. And she knows that she doesn't need permission from anybody else. So the cool thing about this is that the masculines and the feminines, in their intuition, in their activation of self-mastery and knowing, are coming to realize that, the work of the feminine, of the maiden, of this very young yet nurturing self, has everything to do with growing in self-knowledge and awareness. And this is also a card of sexuality and lower chakra energies and intrigue. So the other messages coming from this card are learning to form relationships with healthy boundaries and to express, sexuality with innocent pride and confidence. So I really feel like the energies here are working towards purifying into a place where this youthful, fresh, empowered increasing of independence is what the fertility is really embodying. It's like what it's representative of. This fertility is representative of this journey of self-discovery. And that's where this spring energy, this full moon energy, is taking the divine masculine and feminine, which is so, so beautiful. So moving down into the 3D, reading from the Enchanted Tarot, we get 3 cards from the hearts, the suit of the hearts. We get an Ace of Swords on the feminine side, and we get a 9 of Wands on the masculine side. And the card bringing this union together is the 2 of Hearts. So again, we have, this is really in alignment, because I've been seeing 2, 2, 2 all the time for the last week now. I've been seeing it, and we have the Intuition card, which is a 22, and then we have the Maiden below it, which is a 2, and then we have the 2 of Hearts below it, which is a 2. So we have 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay, right down the center, and that mirroring, that 22, 22 is the balance that we're looking for. And I really feel like the masculine and the feminine energies are really starting to balance. And we're doing that because we're mirroring one another, and we're learning from one another, and we're watching how this growth process is coming forth for one another and with one another. So on the side of the sun, the masculine energy, we get the 6 of Hearts in the outer space. So the 6 of Hearts is all about joy. This is the card of joy in this deck. This is the card of childhood, memories, innocence, playfulness. You have the 3 children, and they are, carrying the littlest one in a basket. And this is like having a childhood experience that you can remember from when you were little, and it being really good. Like one of those really yummy memories that you just can't let go of. And it's like where you're nostalgic for journeying back to that time. So this is like romance and, adventure and excitement and the newness that you feel like when spring first arrives, and all of a sudden you open that door and you feel like the fresh breeze, and you smell the flowers on the wind, and it's just, this is beautiful. This is like when the world was new, and there's beautiful butterfly energy everywhere. This is an emerging from the cocoon. So it's almost like the masculine energy is in this dream. They're experiencing the potentiality of this opportunity to be friends with themselves again, and to be friends with others whom are carrying that kind of light-hearted, classic energy of just this feel-good vibration. And that's really why the masculines are choosing in the higher realms to deal with their shadow stuff, because that's a desire. That's that's a heart desire, and then they have the card of the 9 of Wands, which I really have to say, honestly, for one, it's a 9 card, so it's nearing completion in its cycle of winding up as a 10, in the suit. But this card has a goddess standing on a platform. So this is all about her foundation, and she has two of the wands over her head, arrows pointed to the sky. She's holding them in preparation to basically throw them forcefully into the ground to complete this wall of wands, which is her shield, which is her protection, which is her staking her claim. The way the book describes this card, she's in her cave and she's, blocking off the entrance to the cave, therefore sealing herself in. Yet in this card, there's two flames, okay? Twin flames, like, this is not even a coincidence. This is accurate, okay? Because these two wands, the significance of the two flames is that's where she's about to submerge these two arrows, So the masculine energy is divided in terms of feeling like so ready to go there and to place these last two wands in their position, knowing that it's going to create a block to the outside world. There are other circumstances and situations on the other side of this gate, okay, that are going to be cut off by making this placement, by putting these two wands where they need to be. But there's this lotus flower above this entire scene, like we say in Tai Chi, like the 10,000 petaled lotus flower above her, which is huge expansion. So it's like making this decision, let's say, to solidify this knowing and to choose this journey is going to end something, yet also open up to a huge amount of opportunity, potentially in the spiritual, and the expansion of this lotus flower, in the blooming of the self, for the higher purpose. There's a higher purpose behind this twin flame journey. There's a higher purpose of this self-union, of getting in balance with the masculine and the feminine within. This isn't just about, getting a boyfriend or girlfriend or, having a love affair. This is seriously a journey of self-union with the divine. So that once we become divinely lit from within, everything that mirrors back to us has the opportunity to be activated by our light, and we in tune draw in the similar energies that help to change the entire vibration of the world, of the planet, of our global community. Remembering that this moon is in Libra. This is all about relationship to self, relationship to others, relationship to our community, relationship to the earth, relationship to the universe, the galaxies, okay? So this is really big. This is huge, huge, huge manifestation. So on the feminine side of the moon, we come with the Ace of Swords. We come with the card of Force. Okay? So the feminines are being guided right now to identify with their long-term goals and their major principles that will enable them to basically build a life based on who they innately know themselves to be. So this defining of self with this king of earth energy, right? This like really this knowing that they are balanced within is opening up a channel for the divine feminines. Like this sacred wisdom is becoming like triumphant over any adversity, over any ignorance. Like the divine feminines are awakened and are initiating their structure in a long-term sense. So I know a lot of divine feminines that I'm in contact with are looking at the bigger picture of their life goals, are making moves that are all about foundation, but also about what's going to happen above and beyond this immediate reality. Like, what's the long-term goal? And again, we have in this card, let me just double check myself, because yes, there are, I'm not lying, people, 22 white butterflies. Again, 22. Okay? 22 white butterflies that symbolize all the resources having been joined to reach the pinnacle of this sword. So the divine feminines are also remembering that this is a card of air, so these are all elements of ideas, right? And this symbolizes the victory of the power of the mind to prevail over uncertainties. So a lot of uncertainties have been put to rest because the divine feminines are choosing to be in their power. They're choosing to not wait, but to manifest and to transform. But this is also a card to be conscious of, because as we choose to manifest and transform, this has to be done from a place of, self-centered love, right? And not from like a manipulative standpoint. And I want to be really clear about that, because the whole idea of, awakening and becoming more tuned into your divine self is to not be manipulating others, is to not be choosing the path of that will lead to more karma, because that's a low vibration. So the message is to remember that this is a two-edged sword, and it can both attack and it can defend. So concentrate on the principles and the ideas that you want to manifest, and not just on the form. Like, just be in that space of knowing in your mind's eye where you're going, and then allow for the universe to open up and expand to you. Allow these butterflies to part ways so that you can walk right through. And we have like the crescent moon here at the pinnacle. So, as we begin to wane back towards the new, like, just know that this energy is following and is leading us there. So then we have the Eight of Hearts. And the Eight of Hearts is about sacrifice. And I feel like when I saw this card come out, my initial feeling was that, the divine feminines have had to sacrifice a lot to get where they've gone. And the sacrifice I feel like I'm talking about is the going without, and kind of choosing that path, right? Because to sit around and wait for love to come to you it's not in the laws of the universe. It's a very low vibrational stance. When we let go of what we're seeking, that's when it starts to seek us. When we finally get to a point where we don't need that outside love anymore, that's when that love's going to come forward. That's when it's going to come in and it's going to step in. So, this card is speaking of the awareness of the physical and the mental and the emotional sacrifices that have been in the present situation for a lot of the divine feminines. And a lot of the divine feminines are still going through that and still healing and still need that time to be healing, because it's bringing up greater sense of self-worth. So the sacrifice is the being alone. The sacrifice is the walking in the masculine energy. It's doing that work. And it's also, potentially for a lot of us, it's difficult, because this is like an angel, and she's like crying these tears, and it's going down into this water, and there's fish down below, and it's almost like, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I know for me personally, like I shed so much emotion on a regular basis, and I don't always even know where it's coming from fully, but I know that, in the releases that come, in the tears that come, in the overwhelm that hits me like out of nowhere, in the loneliness that arises, in the feelings of desire that come over situations that you have no control over, when you just are longing for that connection or to reach out and touch that person and you can't, those times make everything sweeter, because when you don't have it and yet you know that you're still okay, and you're still manifesting, and you're still moving towards this energy of completion, because again, this is an 8, so we're getting towards the end of the completion of that suit. You have to go through a letting go process, and I just feel like these lessons and the things that are coming in the future, it's like it's making us wiser, and it's giving us more depth into this union energy of what's coming in, because what's coming is the Two of Hearts. This couldn't be more of a beautiful union card. I feel like this is like a Valentine's Day reading or something. It's so sweet. This is the card of romance. It's the two angels embracing and kissing. It's, the two swans, the mates for life, in their pond of lilies. It's like, it's clear, nurturing, supportive, and heartfelt exchange of emotions. It's the gift of romantic relationship. And this card speaks about, how good familial or business relationships may do, but what you learn from romance is different. And the idea of this eternal unifying power of love that is all around us, that is all within us. You know, this is showing a place where lovers can meet without fear of discovery. This is about trust. This is about union. This is about like the mirroring of the maiden energy, this fertile ground where these two hearts are like written in the stars with one another. I mean, there literally is in one of the hearts 2 stars and a moon. Again, the crescent moon, the goddess moon, the Shiva moon. You know, I mean, 2 hearts beating is one. I need not say any more. You know, it's very special. This is a very special reading. And I'm really, really honored that I was given the message to read the cards together with the masculine and the feminine. And I know that this reading is going to be a little bit long, but, you know, in honor of the Libra moon, I think that this is the right way. So I'm going to ask for some guidance cards for the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine from the Archangel Michael deck. And just some medicine that we may remember going through this. Of how to, you know, balance these energies, and just some general messages, please, for the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. The person you're asking about is trustworthy. And that came out. Whoa. They're flying out. Detach from the situation. The romance angels are helping you. Ask Archangel Michael to help you with this situation. And the underlying energy is new beginnings and a fresh start. So, in the person you're asking about is trustworthy card, we have this angel flying forward with what appears to be shooting stars, and his sword is pointing out straight in front of him. And the message is about faith. And it's a prayer that says, thank you for helping me to have faith so I can open my heart wider in my relationships. I am grateful for your protection, ensuring that only trustworthy people are in my life. So this card matched with the 6 of Hearts, that energy that the masculine is in right now of, you know, really wanting that childlike innocence, wanting those people around him that he feels like he can trust, that he feels like he can really open up to, you know, in order to potentially detach from the situation. So detaching from the situation, I ask you to use your flaming sword to cut any attachments to fear or drama so that I may be centered in the knowingness that peace is everywhere within me and this situation. So, you know, this coming down from that devil card, that 5 of earth, that, you know, knowing that he needs to detach from these patterns from the past and these, you know, situations and people that are not serving, that are based in fear and are based in drama, that are not based in eternal peace. You know, and also to have the courage to place those last 2 wands in the flames. to trust that everything is in perfect order, and for the feminine side of things, asking Archangel Michael to help you with this situation. So praying that, thank you for assisting me with, I would say, describing this situation, manifesting the life of my dreams, having the courage to stand on my own, having the strength to be empowered in my masculine energy, and please help me to be filled with faith and peace at all times. Knowing that the romance angels are helping you, knowing that this time of sacrifice and of aloneness, of being detached from, the masculine in form, potentially for those that are not in union on the physical plane, but also for those that are looking at this reading as, coming into self-union, knowing that this is, it's simply a prayer away of, the angels want to help you, and the angels simply need to be asked. And then we have this beautiful card that the romance angels are helping you. Dear guardian angels of my soulmate, thank you for preparing my soulmate and me for love, for giving us the motivation to make healthful life changes, and for arranging for us to meet. Thank you for helping us recognize each other and have the courage to say hello, so that we can eventually delve into a truly intimate relationship. I love this. And that's all leading into the center with this Two of Hearts, and the underlying energy of new beginnings and a fresh start. New opportunities and offerings of support, helping to release and heal the past. Fill me with trust as I experience these life changes. There's a lot going on. There's a lot shifting. A lot of twins and a lot of soul connections, soulmates, twin souls. However you want to label these connections, you know who your soul family is. And if you don't know, get to know yourself better. Because the more you know yourself, and the more you can be truly tuned in and aligned with your beloved from within, the more you're going to start to see those people coming into your life. So I'm going to ask the Sacred Traveler Oracle to highlight and pinpoint some obstacles on the masculine side, on the feminine side, on where we're going at this time on the journey, things that we may be dealing with, ways to help each other. How to stay in alignment. Nice. So the Divine Masculines, I'm just going to start while I'm continuing to shuffle because I feel like there is one more message, but the Divine Masculines are being guided to view the situation from above. View the situation from like a higher picture, you know, because we have this woman in an air balloon and she's looking down on things. So the importance here that I'm getting is to recognize that what you're feeling like up close and personal can kind of, okay, I'm going to stop shuffling. What you sometimes think is needed is not needed. So remembering to see the bigger picture, you know, see the bigger picture and don't feel stuck in the immediate situations, right? Because everything is aligning for you to move into a clearer connection with yourself, you know, following your intuition, you know, and then also fellow travelers, right? So I love this card because it's like this very dramatic valley, like this scene with this huge rainbow, and then you have like this peacock right next to a, you know, I want to call him a wanderer, but I think he's just more of like a traveling spirit or a seeker or a, you know, nomad or something. But connecting with fellow travelers and reaching out for support, like realizing that support is all around you. You know, I know that there can be distancing when things get difficult, you know, or things are coming up that are hard to communicate about. But this is a message to kind of like don't allow yourself to think that you're alone. Like, recognize that you do have support, whether that be in friendships or readings or synchronicities from the universe. Like, read into what you're experiencing all around you every day. So the divine feminine side is dealing with this desert passage, right? This like scene of this narrow passageway in through this barren, hot, blazing landscape, which is like so intensely poignant for these energies, like of needing to remember that the romance angels are helping you, that knowing that like you're being helped through these situations, this card of sacrifice, like the feminines are literally being tested on faith. This is a faith walk. The message here is trust that there's a divine plan, you know, trust beyond what you can see, beyond what you can hear, you know, trust that. I said that in the beginning of this reading, that, you know, this is beyond your consciousness. This is divine. The word divine plan is in this card. Okay? And also, continue to cross your bridges, divine feminines. Continue to hold your light out, to be in this. I mean, the full moon is in this card, and she is, you know, walking over this bridge with a lantern in front of her. It's time for healing, connecting, mending, and releasing. This is the work that's being done right now. This is so beautiful, you guys. I love this message. It's like, this is exactly what's happening. This is why the divine feminines are in their masculine power. This is why the divine feminines are being guided to, you know, Continue to walk over the bridges. Just keep going, Divine Feminines. Keep going. And Divine Masculines, you keep going too, you know. Okay, I wasn't going to pull from the Native Spirit cards, but there's something there. Something there. Of course, we got the Spirit of Air, because the Spirit of Air is just huge energy. This is expansive. It's open. You know, it's the 100-mile views. It's, again, the viewing of the bigger picture. You know, the spirit of fire. Masculines, be in your fire right now. Be in your fire. You know. We have Grandfather Sky, and we have the ancestors. Underlying wounded healer. So, this time that we're in, these times of, you know, potential separation or growth and development, right? This is all being guided. We're being guided by the ancestors, by the sky, by the spirit of air, by our dreams, by our thoughts, you know, by our passions, this spirit of fire. This is what's bringing us home. This is what's bringing us back to our center. Now, I'm only going to pull one RUMI Oracle, and there it goes. I surge on the uprising wave of love. Jai Ma. This is the full moon in this card. It's a number 5. Big change. This is going to be for the union. This is a union reading at this point. I surge on the uprising wave of love. We're getting there. I'm going to read the poem. And it reads, my life can be summed up in 3 accounts. I was raw, I was cooked, and I was burned. I surge on the uprising wave of love. No gravity can stop me from rising. The moon pulls the tide of life towards her, and my soul in oneness with all of life answers her call. A wave of love consumes me, and upwards I fly, flying through water to greet her shining body. Led by my heart, my wits are addled, and my mind becomes a blurry mess. And so I feel instead, feel the truth of her love and the divine reflection she shines back at me from her radiant heart. I didn't recognize that word, addled. It's a different word for me. So, just looking over this notes. What we always have at our disposal is choice as to how we respond to these affected movements and cycles. The effect of this karmic cycle now unfolding in your life is to bring you into sweet surrender and awakening into greater love. What a delicious divine destiny. However, even if we sense at one level that a shift has a positive end in store for us, we encounter resistance and fear born of the ego in response to the stirring of spiritual uprising. We may quake in our holy body and wonder if everything is getting out of control and into some disorder. We will be right in our sense of imminent chaos. The disorder, however, is the ego perspective, because its range of vision is too small, too limited to comprehend the greater workings of the planetary systems that move life towards love. That is as it should be. The teacup is not made to hold the ocean, just actually a cup of tea. But if we begin to imagine that the cup of tea is preferable to the ocean, simply because it is more containable, how much we miss out on. The expansion, the growth, everything that's going on at this time, the uprisings, the chaos, the disorder, the endings, the new beginnings. This is a way that we have to learn how to trust that we are being guided by a higher source. We are here for higher purpose. We simply have to embrace our destiny. I'm so grateful and honored to be able to share these readings. I truly believe in the power of tuning in to the higher guidance of Source, and I hope and I pray that these messages help other people and bring you into greater alignment. Those of you who listen and resonate, and if these messages come through for you and hold resonance for you, I'm honored to be able to share them. It is my divine work, and I pray that in time I will have greater outreach, and as long as I'm being guided to do this, I will continue. All of my information is in the box below. Visit my website, reach out to me, follow me on Instagram if you like, and I look forward to the next encounter. I may be doing some more questions, shorter videos answering questions for twins or anybody who really wants to reach out, who has a question about something. Just DM me or email me or leave a message in the comments below. I love to receive that kind of feedback because it gives me a lot of food for thought, and oftentimes is actually in alignment with things that I'm experiencing. So when we open our hearts to one another, we really get an opportunity to shine our light and to also heal ourselves and one another in turn. So that is the goal, that is the mission, that is the love, that is truly honoring and recognizing that we are all in this together, that we are one family, that we are here working together harmoniously. We are star seeds and we are a fabric of life. And I honor each and every one of you today. Happy full moon in Libra. I love you, everyone. I pray for the guidance to continue on this path and this journey in love and light. And I will speak to you all very soon. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and share with your friends and anybody who else needs to hear these messages. Much love. Talk to you soon.